After the scare the last few nights, bedtime had become more and more terrifying for me. At breakfast, my parents noticed I wasn't feeling well. They asked what was wrong. I just said I'd woken up from a nightmare and had a spider on my head, which was basically true. But I didn't mention seeing Mr. Mason the night before, staring at me from his backyard. The day was cloudy, very gray. Those days that drain all your energy, leaving you with nothing but the urge to sleep until the day is over. I thought about everything that had happened. I felt disconnected from the world around me, sinking deeper into darker and more unsettling thoughts about the Masons. But I snapped back to reality when I realized my mom had been calling me. She must have been calling me for a while, but I hadn't noticed. "I thought you had gone deaf," she said, almost impatiently. I must have really ignored her a long time. "I need you to deliver a package to Tyler's house. They delivered it by mistake," she said, showing me the package on the table. My heart stopped for a moment. The thought of going there and seeing them after the nights they had watched me. The memory of Mr. Mason staring at me in the darkness of the previous night made me shudder to my bones. His empty eyes watching me, making me feel like I was being hunted. It was terrifying just thinking about seeing him again. I wanted to say no, but I couldn't say no to my mom. But really, what was the problem? They lived right across the street. I just had to knock on the door, deliver the package, and leave. No need to talk, or anything, right? The thought of crossing the street felt like walking into a trap. The house, which once seemed so ordinary, now looked like a dark, empty cave. Its walls washed out by the gray of the day. As I approached, the cold wind seemed to carry a distant whisper. The yard was empty. No sign of life, just like the house. Gray days really take the life out of everything. But it's not like there was much life in that house anyway. The door to the house was slightly open, as if it was calling me in. But something inside me told me to stay away. I stood there for a moment, staring at the door, hesitating to knock. When I finally found the courage, I raised my hand to knock. But the door opened by itself, and Mrs. Mason stepped out from behind it. Even though it was early, she was already perfectly put together, wearing a floral fancy dress, the kind you wear on elegant trips. Light makeup with a little red on her cheeks, her hair more perfect than ever, and, of course, that damn smile. "Hi, dear. What did you bring for us?" she asked, tilting her head. Her voice too sweet, almost forced. I handed her the package without thinking twice. "My mom asked me to deliver this. It was a mistake," I answered, my voice low, trying to avoid prolonging the conversation. She took the package and asked,
Don't you want to come in for a minute? Tyler's inside. You could hang out with him. I'm sure you'll have fun.
I swallowed hard. Of course, on a normal day, I would accept, because I liked hanging out with Tyler. But after everything that had happened, I wanted to stay far away from his parents. No thanks, I'm fine. I just need to go, I said, turning to leave quickly. But before I could take the first step, a shadow moved behind me. The air seemed to freeze around me. I turned, a chill running down my spine. Mr. Mason was standing there behind me, his tall, motionless figure imposing, his broad body a mix of fat and muscle. His eyes seemed to follow me with an unsettling intensity, as if he was waiting for an answer. I didn't know when he appeared. 1 minute ago, he wasn't anywhere in his yard. Why not come in? I'm sure Tyler would like the visit, he said, his voice soft, but with a firmness that made me freeze. I found myself paralyzed in that situation. Fear took over me. I wanted to run, get out of there, scream. But my body didn't obey. Mrs. Mason stayed behind me, her smile never leaving her face, an expression that wasn't really an expression. It was just a mask. I really need to go, I mumbled, my voice failing. But they were both there, waiting. The silence between us weighed like a stone on my chest. I held my breath, trying to find a way out of this moment. Any space that would let me escape. Mr. Mason took a step forward. Not aggressively, not quickly, but enough to make me step back, causing my foot to stumble slightly. He raised one hand as if to guide me inside. Mrs. Mason, now at my side, gently touched my shoulder. Her hand was delicate, but the discomfort was immediate. Each of her fingers feeling too cold, too light, almost unreal. She didn't hold me, but it felt as if she wouldn't let me escape.
You're really going to refuse such a kind invitation?
She said, her voice still sweet, still smiling. Mr. Mason watched me closely. Too closely. His eyes didn't blink. I felt my stomach turn. This whole situation was uncomfortable and disturbing. I felt like I was going to start crying at any moment. Sorry, I managed to say, shrinking my shoulders to shrug off her touch, almost on the verge of tears. My mom, she asked me to come back soon. I turned around and started walking, quickly. I couldn't bring myself to look back, not even when I felt their eyes burning into my back, not even when I heard the door slam shut behind me. Once I was inside the house, I was almost hyperventilating, my eyes welling up with tears. This was probably the most disturbing experience I'd ever had. I leaned back against the door and slid down to the floor. I felt small empty. I stayed there for a few minutes, trying to control my breathing, trying to convince my mind that I was safe now. But I couldn't. Their image was still glued to my eyes. Her touch was still on my shoulder. My mom appeared in the hallway.
Son, you took a while. Everything okay?
I nodded without looking at her. I delivered the package. I was just coming back. She frowned, worried, but didn't press. She seemed to know I wasn't in the mood for a conversation.
Go take a warm bath, okay? I'll make something to eat.
I did as my mom asked. Went to take a bath. Maybe it would help me calm down. I closed the door behind me, locked it, then I locked it again, as if the first time wasn't enough. I closed my eyes, but I couldn't relax, because even there, under the water, I felt something. The feeling that someone was with me in the bathroom. That if I opened my eyes too quickly, I'd see a silhouette behind the frosted glass. I breathed deeply. Several times. Tried to convince my body it was just paranoia. Just the fear still clinging to me. But my skin was too cold. My chest too tight for it to be just that. I locked myself in my room, but didn't want to go out or talk to anyone. I needed some time alone. And in that, I ended up falling asleep. Some time passed. I woke up to knocks on my bedroom door. It was my mom. She wanted to talk to me. A little calmer now, I decided to open the door for her. She said that the Masons told her what had happened.
They said they scared you. Didn't expect the invitation to be scary. They wanted to apologize.
And that scared me, because I thought they were downstairs, waiting to apologize. What, fortunately, turned out to be a false assumption.
They said they were really sorry, and suggested something.
She said, now putting on a smile, trying to cheer me up.
They suggested you and Tyler have a sleepover here.
Finally, some good news. The Masons scared me, but Tyler didn't. He had been my friend for years, and was also the only normal one in that house. When my mom left my room, leaving me with that forced smile, I just wanted everything to go back to normal. I wanted to be that kid who wasn't afraid to cross the street or look out the window. I got ready, put on a comfortable t-shirt and pants. I tried to breathe deeply, but the feeling of nervousness was still there, deep in my throat. It was only when I heard the doorbell that my mind jumped. I peeked through the window. Tyler stood at the door, with a backpack on his back. He always arrived on time for our adventures, our endless conversations. I went to the door, excited, and quickly opened it. I saw Tyler with a super excited face, like this was going to be the best night ever. And behind him, his family.